I wonder if I'm going to be able to remember even a second of this movie, even though I watched it this morning. That's how forgettable Ju-on 3 and 4 are. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Movie Epidemic Show. We've got our 31 Days of Horror, and thank God we're finally done with all these Grudge movies. Now we watched like 10 of them or something around that, and they're all fucking exactly the same. And I knew going into that would be an issue, but I didn't realize until I watched like 8 of them in a row that it's hard to get through. It's hard to get through. And so this one is called Ju-on 3, The Beginning of the End. Ju-on 3 implies that it's a sequel to Ju-on 2. However, this is, in fact, another reboot of the Grudge series. So I don't know how numbering works over in Japan, but like, maybe just don't call this one Ju-on 3. Now let's examine the poster here for a little bit. So this is like, yes, the English poster. It's what, when I Googled it, this is the one that came up. It says the scariest horror blockbuster ever. And then it has some Japanese written under it. No, it's not the scariest blockbuster ever. It says Ju-on 3, the beginning of the end. And then at the bottom here, it says the curse continues. 24 July 7, 24 Japanese stuff. And again, that implies the curse continues that it's a sequel of such to Ju-on 2. However, this is like complete retelling, and in these ones it focuses mostly on Toshio rather than Kayako. And that's like seems like a weird thing because he's never been like a focal point of this series. It's always been Kayako and her crawling down the stairs. She's reduced to the sidekick. And you have Toshio taking over kind of the main scares and the main character, the main lore of Ju-on 3, which I guess is fine. That's a new perspective. However, the movie takes the exact same plotting as all the other ones that we've watched. The Curse ones, the Grudge ones, all of the Ju-on movies essentially have the same story. And I don't understand why we can't just go into something new with these. Like, why does it always have to be this? So this one, it starts off promising, where it has like some grainy police footage where they go in on a child protective services call and they find the dead mother and kid and stuff, and it's really fucked up, and that's great. And then it moves into the kind of thing that all these Grudge movies do where it's non-sequential and it just follows like a character for a little bit and switches back and forth, which I always find confusing because I'm barely watching these fucking things because I've seen like 7 of them in a row, so I have to pull up the Wikipedia to even understand what the fuck is happening at any point. And now this one kind of introduces some lore that feels like it's more from Ring, where there's a main character. She's like the teacher to Toshio again. We're kind of going over this again. This time it's a female teacher. I think in the original Grudge it was like a male teacher. I don't know if that's that common to have a male teacher for little kids in Japan, so maybe they switched it just because that makes more sense. But she starts seeing spirals everywhere, and that's kind of part of the Ring lore, but I don't know if that's just something from Japanese culture where spirals mean something. I don't actually know. It very well could be. I didn't research that at all. So the teacher is basically the main character, and then there's a second group of people where it's the high school girls that go into, once again, high school girls go into the scary place because they're like, ooh, it's scary. This is 10 years prior to the teacher, but it's kind of unclear, I think, at times. So when it flips back and forth, you don't realize that it's happening like quite a long time before. Again, much like the newer Ring movies, this movie has really good special effects. So Kayako and Toshio and the cat, when there are jump scares or actual scares, it all looks really good. And that is the problem with these movies. I honestly think, like, if you were going to go into one of these, I still think the Curse, Ju-on the Curse, is probably the best one, but it's not the most watchable one. This is certainly the most watchable one, and it has the same story as all the other ones. So you could literally, if you've never seen any of these, you go into this one and probably enjoy it as much as any of the other ones, honestly. I've seen this 8 fucking times. So it does absolutely nothing for me. Even if Kyoko looks fucking great in this, very, very scary stuff. None of this scares me at all anymore because I've just seen it so many times. I'm even expecting the scares at this point because they're all so similar. Basically, all of the high school girls get picked off one by one. There's some pretty cool sequences in here. The one girl's losing her mind at school, is wandering through the halls. There's like sharp piano music going on. She wanders into the nurse's room, and then whoop, underneath the sheets, a scary little cat boy. Woo, scary. Eventually, the teacher starts seeing spirals everywhere, starts going crazy, talking about Toshio. Her boyfriend finds this notebook that kind of contains all of the information. It's Kyoko's journal, I guess, and it says how she really wanted a child really bad, and then Toshio came to her in a dream, and that's how she had a child. And then this one, that's where they kind of twist the lore a little bit. Like Toshio is the spirit, it seems. And the reason the father goes crazy in this one is not because she has a crush on someone. It's because he doesn't think that the child is his. So he ends up killing Kyoko and throwing the cat in the microwave, and this is like so fucked up. This one, like, there's a lot of fucked up shit in this one, and I actually don't think it's that bad of a movie. My problem with them is that it is just the same shit again. There's also a part where one of the high school girls dies by Kyoko, like, coming out of the back of her head and pulling her jaw off. So we get the jaw off thing again, and it looks crazy good in this one. Like, again, the special effects are super good. And this one kind of ends on like a cliffhanger. Like Kyoko comes out and it seems like she's going to attack the teacher, but you never really know her fate to that. So there's a lot of like pretty good scenes in this that I just like, I don't think amounts to much in the end of the day. I think I'm going to give this one 2 stars, but honestly, like, it is the same as all the other ones. So if you were to just pick one at random, this could be a place to start. Unfortunately, it's called Ju-on 3, so I don't think most people are going to start here. But it really is like probably one of the more watchable versions of this story. I guess all things considered, the American version is probably the best one to watch. All right, we're moving into the last one now. This one is called Ju-on 4, The Final Curse, and apparently, this is going to be the last of the Grudge movies. Unfortunately, a movie called The Grudge came out this year. That's an American one, so maybe the Japanese ones are done. Let's examine the poster here for a minute. It says, finale to the scariest horror blockbuster. And now we've just went over this. None of these movies are the scariest horror blockbuster. It also says the fear continues. I think, what did the last one say? Let's go back to that one quickly. It says the curse continues, and this one says the fear continues. Okay. So now this one follows the sister of the teacher from Ju-on 3. It also follows the sister to the high school student that went missing in 3. So again, we're following characters that slightly relate to them, and now they're going to get cursed too. And we find out very quickly that Ryo, the high school student, Toshio is coming to live with them because he lost his mother. And I guess we're assuming that from part 3, Toshio didn't die, but his mother was killed by the father. So that's where we're at with this one. So the sister, May, who is the sister of the teacher from the last one, hasn't seen her sister in like over a year. So she starts investigating. Eventually she finds out about the house and the curse, and she finds the journal that she had in the previous one. Now, both her and her boyfriend start reading through the journal. They start investigating the house. Both immediately start getting haunted by Kyoko and Toshio. So those are the 2 plot lines we're kind of following. It's the sister and the high school student and her mother with the Toshio at their house. All very quickly, they realize that Toshio is not as he seems. They start seeing very weird things happening throughout the house. Every time Ryo is alone, she sees her sister who's been missing, and as we come to find out, that's actually Kyoko trying to make her feel safe so that she can be eaten, essentially. And that is pretty much the fate of Ryo and her mother, is they invite this Toshio into the house, the curse happens, and they get fucking eaten. Mai pretty quickly goes crazy, much like the previous movie. Again, this one's pretty similar, but it does just feel like a kind of a continuation of part 3. However, this is called the curse, this is called the final curse. It doesn't really seem like it ends here. That's the issue. The boyfriend starts seeing Kayako everywhere. Eventually, he is murdered by her and Toshio. There are some pretty good kills in this one, to be honest. Like, Toshio's like snapping everybody's necks. He's really snapping people's necks. Kayoko's doing the crawling shit, but on the ceiling now. And again, the special effects look quite good. They are quite scary. This is probably the one she's the scariest in. They really fully show her, and she looks fucked up in this. She really does look like a dead person, not just someone covered in white face paint. Again, though, I don't know if this is that satisfying of a conclusion. I don't know. It's billed as the final curse, the end of the scariest horror blockbuster, and it's like, it's kind of scary, but it's mostly just a boring retread, because that's what all of these fucking movies are. This one I'm going to give a 1. I'm going to give this one 1 star because I hope I never have to see another Grudge movie, or Ring movie for that matter, but I guess we'll find out in the next couple days if we continue on either of these series. Hopefully not. Alright everybody, thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you've seen either of these, if you're interested in either of these. If you like the Grudge movies, if you like the Ring movies, let me know. I'd like to talk to you about them. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Movie Epidemic. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow for some more 31 Days of Horror.
Why don't you play us something, baby? Why don't you play us something? Why don't you play us something, baby?
Start? I don't feel so good.